Okay, welcome to a special episode of the Day After podcast.
What is up, everyone? It is I, Brian Neo Wayne, and Joe King. And today, you saw the thumbnail and everything,
Mhm.
or read the description slash title. Anyway, we are talking about 10 things that we want to see within post Survivor 50. I almost said the new era, but
Yeah,
who knows what it's going to be labeled because it's been called the new era from season 41 to I guess season 50.
yeah,
And it's been mixed to bad reviews. Yeah. So there's some things us as fans want to see moving forward.
yeah, exactly. My gripes. If you've seen any of our reviews over, the last few of the new era seasons, I think 48 and 49 were some of the worst Survivor seasons we've seen in a very long time. And it's a worrying trend. I'm hoping that 50 obviously breaks it, but we can't just hope that all-star seasons are the good seasons and then everything else goes back to being the way that we were just at. So uh
Even Survivor 50 is not without its controversies from
yeah.
announcing it in 46 while that season was still going on, and that kind of like that cloud over everything.
Hmm.
And then from having celebrities on Survivor to like all the people they cut to still having it 26 days with 24 contestants. There's a lot of things about this one that has some people a little like, should we be as excited for this as we should?
Yeah.
And like especially after we had two seasons that had I would say mostly negative like reviews about. It's like Survivor even knows because season 49 was one of their lowest watched seasons of
Yeah.
all time. So they need to, it's a new time. They need to think of what to bring back. Take the notes from 41 through soon to be 50 and see where the show can evolve from there.
Yeah, so we're not doing this video to hate on Survivor. Obviously, we love it. We keep watching. This is constructive criticism. This is
Yes.
us, and sometimes constructive criticism can be tough to take, but if you do it and you apply it properly, it can make whatever you're working on significantly better. So that is what we're hoping to achieve here with this video, and I don't know how much any of this will even be affected. I feel like I mean, I recently saw with Jeff Probst, he's saying like, yeah, we're going to change, but it's going to be very slight, small things, incrementally, and it's like we need something big and dramatic. We need a big dramatic shift going into 51.
Um, I agree. Well, it's interesting that they're saying this right off of the cusp of Survivor 50. Survivor 50, it feels like they're, you know, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. So coming from that, will that be like, like how is that going forward going to
Mm,
be affected by things?
yeah,
Um, because, when we saw Survivor 50, they introduced what we will know as a boomerang idol. It looks like fire tokens are back this season, potentially, or
mhm.
beast tokens. And then we'll see. But it looks like they're throwing a lot of crazy stuff at us, which in fair, I know I voted that way and was like, all right, make this season a little like, when it comes to the twists and advantages, make that a little heavy. But we'll see once the show. We have just a little over a month until we get to finally see Survivor 50 after waiting for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was also a big problem with announcing it so freaking early is every season that's not 50 it feels like it's just waiting to get to 50.
And that's unfair, to
Yeah.
the contestants. And then, I mean, like even 49, we kept talking about, I'm pretty sure I lay you odds, we talked about Survivor 50 in every single episode.
Yeah.
Um,
I would be surprised if
but
there wasn't an episode where we didn't talk about 50. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, so these are like 10, like Joe is gonna say five, I'm gonna say five. of
Mhm.
like 10 ideas for what we would like to see Survivor do for 51 onwards. Because,
Mhm.
we love Survivor. And I think I was watching a YouTuber, I think it was probably Idled Out, and it was like, even when, Survivor's like pizza, even if it's bad, it's still good. Like, it's still pizza. It's still
Yeah.
Survivor. I'm still interested in the competition of it all and see, how it plays out.
Yeah.
But we want, that perfect slice of pizza. We want,
Yeah.
something that we bring our friends to, the thing that we dream about. The other, like that's the kind of pizza we want. That's the kind of Survivor we want.
Yeah, and they've been trying to feed us mushroom olive pizza, and there's people who like it. It's fine, but give us some classic pepperoni here and there. Like
Some
change it up on us.
pepperoni,
Yeah,
banana peppers.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's. It's all about you got to vary things up. Like that's the issue. That is one of the big issues, and we're definitely gonna
Yeah.
probably be talking about that. It's some of our bullet points here. Um, do you want to go first? We didn't really talk about who should
Yeah.
kick us off here. You
All
can.
right. So I'll go first. So yeah. So this is, I think, one of the biggest things. And I think this also really affected Survivor 50. They need to have more frequent returnee or captain seasons.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we've outright said this on this channel, but this is the longest stretch of seasons we've had without any returning contestants. The longest stretch was all the way in the beginning, was Survivor, All Stars, which was 8 seasons in. This was
Mhm.
9 seasons and there was no
Yeah.
all star or captain. And I feel like the thing is, I feel like that definitely affects casting for Survivor 50, because it's like, you know, one of the big complaints was it was very new era heavy, or it was very heavy to play players who have only played once.
Yeah.
And we can even talk about 35 and onward, because only other time, only people that were eligible 35 to 39 were winners. So,
Yeah. And the captains
yeah,
on the edge of extinction.
yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, so it's like, that was kind of like, that's why we see so many from that era as well. And so, you know, it's one of the things where I know, like, I would say, like, there was from the 20s to like 30s, there was a lot of it, but I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing, because A, we got to see some of our
Mhm.
contestant players play again, and then also it doesn't feel too crowded, or you don't get as much like, oh, they didn't cast such and such and stuff. And like, that makes people, like, because there's so many new era people in here, which I don't mind in a sense, because I'm looking at
Mhm.
the individuals going into it. But at the same time, you get that like little backlash of like, well, we don't get Jerry, we don't get Fabi Maria Gomez, we don't get Sean Richter, we don't get, some
Yeah.
like old favorites, or like, people from more people from there. So I think they need to. I'm not saying it every single go around when they go out and film 2 seasons back to back, but like every like 4 or 5, I think bring like do something, whether it's a captain season, returning, or like, a fans versus favorites type of deal, even though those are a little lopsided, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. This was one of the ones that I was going to bring up if you didn't. I agree. I think just having returning players just boosts engagement on the season. Like it just makes people want to tune in while that person's on the season, and then like if the other people are good, people are going to stick around. Like because I think that's one of the fears that they have with captain seasons was that captains get targeted early or they're just like or they run the season. um and I think you got to not worry about that. I think right now Survivor needs to figure out how to fix their ratings and how to fix viewership for Survivor. And I do think having captain seasons, half returning players, half newbie seasons, like I think stuff like that can definitely help just make people want to come back in every time. It makes seasons unique you start remembering like, oh, this is the season where Coach and Ozzy were the captains. Like you
Yeah.
immediately can remember like, okay, I know exactly what season you're talking about based off of that, which is something very needed from what New Era is right now.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is like, it keeps it fresh. And other reality shows do this as well, and Survivor has done in the past. And sometimes it is going to be mixed. The thing is, when you introduce like a new play or like an old player amongst newbies, there's always going to be that element of like, yeah.
Mm,
And I know I said, oh, longest break. Bruce was a special case because he got
yeah,
injured before he actually got to play the game.
yeah,
So, like, I will say little asterisk next to that, but it still stands to reason. Like, he was someone where, medevac, I think, before day two even began. So, like,
yeah.
he was not really, he didn't really get to play. So, like,
Yeah,
asterisk next to it, but like, yeah,
he had a head injury before he even met his tribe mate Trilly, and then he
exactly.
got taken out. Like that's not playing Survivor,
No.
So yeah, I think that's definitely one that they should be utilizing going forward.
Hmm.
Okay, this next one's another pretty big one, I'll say, and I think it's one that I think everyone is going to agree with in the fan base that this should be something that is happening, and that's that tribes should alternate from 3 to 2 tribes, and vary it up. Maybe even have
Yes.
some tribes of 4 to start. Like it's all about making things different, unexpected. The fact that we can now expect that there's going to be 3 tribes of 6 every time. I mean, that's boring. Like, I literally was just watching Edge of Extinction with people who were very casual fans, and they were so excited. They got so excited when they saw it was only 2 tribes. They were like, "This
Mhm.
is so much better," and it's like, yeah,
Well, I mean, like, I think it's just like too much and too formulaic, where it
yeah,
becomes like, all right, this is just kind of like the stencil of it. And it's like, I get it. It's like 3 tribes means smaller like pool of people when it comes to, and so gameplay has been, and like, I think initially it made gameplay a bit more
mhm,
like, faster and stuff like that. But we've just been seeing more of the same thing where it's like, all right, you find your core four, then there's two on the bottom. And then, maybe they do this and that, but it's like usually it's the same deal each
yeah,
time. And like, I know that's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's like, like that's the strategy anyone who's watched the show in the new era goes in with. It's like find your core four, and there's that. And then
yeah,
I know like it takes the contestants to carry the season to make it interesting, but at the same time, it's just like I want to go into a season being like, it's kind of like so. If this is the first video of ours you're watching, Joe and I have done online reality games where basically take any reality show and there's some people that have organized little games of it online and done it. We've done some on our channel of Survivor and Battle Camp, which was a lot of fun,
mhm,
Tomodachi games as well. And so like we kind of know the strategy going into oh, if it's 3 tribes of 6, oh, this is what we do. So I think it's also like, oh, okay, it also makes things exciting to see how like these tribe dynamics will go if it's like a
mhm,
bigger one, or like, yeah, or like what you were saying for, or like even if they wanted to be a little bit more ambitious and be like, all right, first vote is a all tribes all together, or not all
yeah,
together, but all tribe, like there are no tribes yet. You are, you know, going
yeah,
through the challenge. It starts individual for the first round and then they go into their tribes. Like if you get
yeah,
16 people or like 21 people and then you do something like
yeah.
that,
There's a
you know,
lot of fun things that you can do with tribe breakdowns and tribe assessment, like where you're putting everyone, and the fact that it's literally been the same thing. And like every time you just get the disaster tribe, like there just always ends up being a disaster tribe, and like you basically have to hope that that disaster tribe is entertaining enough for you to enjoy the pre-merge, and then you have to hope that the ones that are surviving the other two tribes are then entertaining for the post-merge. So there's like it creates two different sectors of the season that just sometimes it's not fun. But if you have two different tribes, I mean it happens where like you can have a disaster tribe, but it's less likely. Like there's more likely for a back and forth scenario because there's more people, more chances for them to put people in the right places. Um, so yeah, that's what I got there, and I just think it should be one of the ones that's like on the first list of things that they should be working on.
Yes, I agree. All right. I have a few here. They're like numbered in the way that they came to me as I was writing this list. But I would say this one is pretty important, and this comes to like casting. We've had a lot of great characters on here,
Mhm.
but I feel like one of the biggest talks or like one of the things that we're kind of like going on with 48, 49. I don't think it was as bad.
Mhm.
We need more game players. We need more
Yeah.
like strategic, like, people or like villains and stuff like that to like really shake up the game because like
Mhm.
I feel like it's become like it's like because like don't get me wrong, I love a good disaster tribe and not everyone and for the sake of like the different kind of like players you bring the different archetypes, you need that. But I feel like they shy away from like they've been shying away from like really, like having a bunch of people that are very like cutthroat or having a bunch of people
Yeah.
that are, super, on the strategy side. Maybe it just feels like three, four, five, if we're lucky, are.
Yeah, I would say like 70 to 80% of players of 48 and 49 especially were scared game players. Like they were
Very trigger shy.
very like they didn't want to do anything crazy. They just kind of wanted to play it safe. Even when it made no sense for them to play it safe because they were just going to get screwed later. And so people were just making bad decisions left and right because of that. And yeah, you get some people like Kyle, you get Rizzo, like people who are playing, but like when you're playing like a decent game and that but everyone around you is playing like very poorly, it makes those people obviously look way better. But it's like you want to see like people playing against other good players and other people who are like, oh, I this person's hold on to their idol and he's like trying to make a whole show of it. We're gonna now actually try to flush it instead of just being like,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta wait again. We gotta wait again, everyone.
Because like I think one of the reasons why, another reason to look at 50 is like you have people, and Jeff even says it's like, in the beginning, it's like earn your, like earn your spot. Not many people get this opportunity to do this even just one time.
Yeah.
But, I get it. It's a little different when you're on the island. There's so many things going on in your head. But at the same time, they even open up with this for the trailer for 50. It's like, it's, that quote from Magellan that coach is saying, it's like, fortune, it boils down to fortune favors the bold.
Mm-hmm.
And so does screen time and memory in our, like memory and what makes certain contestants like interesting to watch. And I feel like why we're so hyped for Survivor 52 is like, I'm looking down the roster and I'm like, okay, I can see these people playing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not some of them want to go like a more low key game or something that maybe, or like, but these look like people where they're here and they're going to give it their all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, no,
we need
I
that in a regular season though.
yeah, and it should be possible. I mean, like, I don't want to like dunk on anyone too bad, but like, you have someone like Jason in this last season who I think should have been he's the kind of brainy, should be a strategist archetype. But when his first tribal council comes, or he's like talking about like, okay, well, let's I don't really want to say anything bad to my tribe, and like it's like that should be a basic like survivor 101 knowledge is like, oh, I'm on the bottom, let me say what I can to make sure that these other people trust me. Like it's like it is
Exactly.
very simple, yet somehow in Survivor 49, one of the brainy archetypes did not realize that.
I don't know. I mean, 49 just in general was a very interesting season because we got people because like yeah, tribal lines do play a factor in some regard, but
Mhm.
like the fact that it played so heavy in the beginning and in the
Yeah,
like early stages of the jury phase, the merge, it like played a big factor of like, all right, who are we targeting? These people are on the
yeah,
bottom because they are original Uli, or they're the like Uli three, which became the Tres Leches alliance, and
yeah.
stuff like that going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting how 49 just became like because we haven't really seen that in the new era besides 49, where just like original tribe lines are like so like this is it. Usually like when you have a swap or something, like it creates some more people. I guess we have like Blue Sophie does kind of go over there and joins them. Um, but it felt like it still was just the Uli versus Hina battle the entire time.
Yeah, and like they adopted Alex a little bit, and then
Mhm.
we did see Sage and um, damn it, why am I forgetting?
Jawan.
Go on, go over there, like they
Mhm.
broke free, but like you saw, uh, but I mean, but we did have like a lot of Hina that like to stay together, like Sophie S,
Mhm.
Christina, and damn it, Steven. I don't know why I'm bad with names today. But it's one of those things where that was a little bit more of a rare case because like sometimes you do see a bit more fluidity when you get to the merge. It just sometimes varies when you get
Yeah,
there. But
yeah,
you know, I will say we did see people make moves, like even if it like with like Jawan and Sage, it's like all right, like they did make moves and stuff like that. But like I think one of the things is like everyone coming in and being like, oh, okay, everyone's a threat. And I think it's really 48. I think it's the prime example where no one
yeah,
wanted to make a move because they were too trigger shy. I think
yeah.
49, it got better because you did see people making moves, just not on like the targets
It
that they
just wasn't the
should have.
right it wasn't the right moves. It was
Yeah,
very much the let's help the Uli people win.
yeah, but yeah.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
I
war
think
game
I
players slash villains.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Savannah would be classified as a villain, so there is that. But yeah, it's
Yes and no. I mean, like, yeah, a little bit,
Mhm.
but she played a very loyal game, and like she even said, even when she was called out on, not knowing everyone
Yeah,
personally, it was like, listen, I don't need to align with everyone there because then you get voted out. Like, Alex tried to like be in
yeah.
good with everyone. It was like, I stuck true to my alliance. Can you say the same, Sophie B?
Yeah, I think
Um,
you can be villainous and be loyal. I think Russell is actually a pretty good example, especially with like Samoa, where he is very loyal to
True.
his group until it like he literally has to start taking them out. But it's the confessionals. I think that's what labels you a villain or a hero. Is if you're kind of like talking trash to some people or any of that kind of stuff, that becomes you become a villain if you're getting shown a lot of that content. And we did get I'd say at least 20-ish to maybe 30 of her confessionals were probably about her like talking about how much she doesn't like Jawan or about like all of her other castaways or other castaways were talking about how much she's a mean girl. So there was definitely a villainous side there to her. Um, but I agree.
I guess
I yeah,
I guess like I mean if I were to boil down, like I wouldn't say she's a hero
yeah,
or an anti-hero. And I wouldn't say some people are like, give the underdog label as, oh, they're the hero or someone to root for. It's like maybe, but I think the most villainous person we've had in the new era, I think sometimes it's like it might be, and he was loyal until he wasn't.
Uh,
Q might be one
oh,
of the
he is a
bigger,
villain.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, because he's like, he will like, lie. He will like just like, promise
yeah,
like, oh, we're gonna be tight, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna turn on you
yeah.
because of the A, B, and C.
Don't
Because
forget about Rome either. Rome was also
Rome was another one.
I would put him on a villain tribe. They did heroes versus villains. I'm putting Rome on that tribe.
Yeah, Tori was another one from 42, where
Yeah.
more of the mean girl, but I would say she made it halfway through, so she was more like a secondary villain.
Yeah, yeah. Shan also
Dan's
was a
another
villain.
one.
So
Uh,
they
Jesse
exist in
Lopez.
yeah. Jesse's one of those ones that I'm not sure as much as a villain. He's one I would maybe say is closer to the anti-hero because I think his story alone and that was like what really propelled him into like what the fans like was rooting for him as much. I think there's definitely a world where he like if they did heroes versus villains, he somehow ends up on a hero tribe because they're just like we like his story.
Maybe. The one thing I keep, because when I think of Jesse Lopez, one of my biggest things that he did was how he blindsided Cody, which,
Yeah,
I mean, that when it got to that point too, it was still pretty tough because it was like, I don't see like the other three, there was like three people that could definitely win this game,
yeah,
but they also had to get rid of the other two, but then also make it to final three, which was
yeah,
very challenging. It was tough for me to see the win condition for them.
yeah. Okay. Well, we can definitely talk about this in a future video, but we are still here talking about things that Survivor needs to do for season 51. And I'm going to now talk about editing because that's something that I talk about in almost every season is I think that the editing of Survivor is not good. Um, I think that we need better focus on the edits. Instead of just highlighting the group of players who make it to the end and the main alliance who basically dominates the game, we need to like focus on one or two of those people and then focus on other people on the bottom and like make sure that we are actually creating proper winners going into the merge because right now there's like one group that is like this is it's going to be one of these people because the pre-merge basically said screw the Hina tribe, screw this other tribe. It is going to be all eggs onto these 2 or 3 players.
Yeah.
And there's ways that you could have made Steven, for instance, been way more of a pivotal person in the early stages of the game and makes us believe that he really could. Like, the episode right before he goes out, that was like an episode where it's like, oh, finally, it was
Yeah.
something. That should have happened way earlier. Like we should have had that like break. Like, oh my gosh, Steven has a chance before the merge.
But there was, yeah, I mean, like, and we talked about it, and he did get
Yeah,
quite a bit of screen time over there. It just wasn't, it just like, it just felt different, like, I
yeah,
know you and I, we do confessional accounts on this, when we
yeah.
review an episode because we value screen time on this channel. But it's also like, I think to the audience as well, who may not dig as deep into that subconsciously are like, oh, maybe they like them from like the few things they have seen from someone,
Yeah.
or oh, they like their style, think they're cool, but like what I think a example of 44 Heidi.
Mm-hmm.
I've met Heidi before and I got to talk to her. Heidi's a very interesting person.
Yeah.
But like that season it was all about the Tika 3. I like those three. I think they're very entertaining. But like we wanted to see more. I know we had a bit of a showmance going on. I know we had, other stuff going on, but it's like the others didn't feel as fleshed out as the Tika 3. And like Heidi was second place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure she had one or two goose egg or zero confessional like
She did.
episodes. And I'm not saying, I know, like, obviously you have all this stuff you're trying to do and create a narrative, and it's a lot to balance. but I've seen y'all do it before.
Yeah.
Because we don't want our winners to be telegraphed by a mile away. We like little like clues and snippets here. This may be a bit of hot take, but I feel like Gabler was a win where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, you don't expect him to win, but he does. And you've told me you rewatch 43, and then you see that the edit is there if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
Um,
It just he
but
was
yeah,
such a crazy person that you just assume that he can't win the game. But you know what they say about assuming, it makes an ass out of you and me, and that's what happened with the entire Survivor audience there. And frankly, I like when you have winners that you're like, what the heck? How did this happen? Like there is a level, like it can't be like every season, or it can't be like
yeah,
let's not go back to like the Natalie White situation where she gets like 17 confessional and that person wins this season. Like that, we shouldn't be at that level of like what the fuck.
no,
But you can tell a story with multiple people who can win from different alliances, different groups. And if you have like 5 or 6 people who are you're really building them up into the merge, I mean you're just going to have the post merge be way more interesting wherever they land. Like even if those like people who are getting the decoy edits end up going out at like 8th or something like that, like that's fine. Like we just need up until that point to like really believe that they have a chance.
yeah.
But if we enter the merge thinking that this is Savannah or Rizzo's game, you know, or we're going in thinking that it's Joe and Kyle's game, you know, like there's just
Yeah.
you know
I The irony is that this became a bit more of a problem once they added basically 20 more minutes to the show
yeah,
because it went from 1 hour and 30 minutes runtime on like cable
yeah,
to, like, I mean, we got into that. So it's like that's more time to, give us confessionals from like different point of views and stuff like that. And, I'm pretty sure, yes, confessional counts have gone up, but like the narrative of stuff, it's like,
mm-hmm.
all right, well, I know we're not, like, and I get it, like, not, it shouldn't be like cookie cutter where it's like, all right, everyone gets, like 2 confessionals per episode, only 2 episodes. Like, no, that doesn't always make sense narrative wise. And then also, I get sometimes for earlier boots not giving them as much love or screen time because, like, well, they're going to be gone and we need to set up this and that. I know it's a crazy balance,
Mm-hmm.
but I know you've done it before with
Yeah,
less time, and that's the
yeah,
big thing.
yeah, exactly. So you have more time. Don't just give that time to the winner or people talking about the winner. Like give extra time to the people who are going to be out in 10th place. You know,
Yeah.
like those people also. Because I feel like especially like the merge or second merge person, like sometimes they just say, well, they don't make it that deep into the game. Let's just give them like a few confessionals here or there, and we'll just call it good. It's like, come on, like you gotta do a little better than that. You can't just give people who are on the jury just like no screen time because they don't make it as far as a few other people.
Yeah. It's also more fun that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
even like Kagiana, I mean LJ who goes out pretty early in like the early merge. Like if you're watching that for the first time, you might think LJ has a chance to win this game because people are talking
Exactly.
positively about him. They like him. He seems like he's going to be good in the challenges. Like there's so many ways that make you start going like, oh, there's a chance that this guy could actually do something. But yeah, we just need some more of that.
I agree. All right. So next up, I think this is because you said about bringing more like reasonable things to this. I think
Mhm.
this one a little bit of a gimme, but I think it's like what a lot of people want. We want more theme seasons
Yeah,
because like it doesn't even have to even be like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, we want to see like, heroes versus villains, or like, you know millennials versus Gen Z or something like that. It would be cool to have like that, but like even if the theme is like, you know whether it's something like Redemption Island, or I'll shout out Survivor Vanquish, where they had fire starters, which was a
Mhm,
thing where it was like a shot in the dark, but if you play it and you're voted out, you get to duel someone.
mhm.
Like something like that, where maybe that's what they do for that season. And like, even not just like with, and like on that same frame, whether it's like Edge, because sometimes they have a theme, but it is Redemption Island or that, or Exile Island, which,
Mhm.
like, so there are like themes you can do that isn't like just classifying people as well. But we also want to see that too, because, it also makes 40 the new era a little bit of a blur, because it's like you have the same colors, you're just
Yeah,
having numbers. It's like the same six colors just on and
yeah.
off. Like it blurs together. You needs that thing to distinguish it,
Yeah, if we
for
weren't
at least for the
podcasting,
casual audience.
yeah, if we weren't podcasting and someone asked one of us, like, hey, you know what happened on season 44? Or like, I would be like, who was on that season again? Like, that's what everyone would say because you're not sure. But, if you say, what happened on Micronesia? Like, or Fans versus Favorites one, you're immediately like, oh, yeah, that's, Sheree convinces Eric to give up the immunity necklace. Like, you can easily think of like ways when you have some kind of like thing to distinguish it. But the fact that it's literally just been numbers to decide what everything is, um, I agree. I think themes are great. I know that there was a little bit of theme fatigue in the 30s. Like they were like heroes versus healers versus hustlers. What does that really mean? I don't know, but that's what we're gonna label these
Mm.
people. So we're gonna call it good there. Island of Iowa's Ghost Island. Like there's like some weird ones that we started getting. But I think that's fine. I think that at the end of the day, I'd rather have some weird gimmick to a season than none, and we just go, okay, here it goes. Let's
I
see what
mean,
happens.
it's a necessary evil, I
Yeah.
will say. I think a big example of this, I don't even want to say it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary thing that, yeah, people might complain about. However, it helps out so much. Look at Big Brother, where
Mhm.
they do it by numbers.
Yeah.
It's BB 14, BB 22, but they have like a theme
Mhm.
to help make it look like seem different. They add a little
Yeah.
twist, whether it's, oh, some of the contestants know each other, or, oh, okay, this is like the theme about this is murder mystery, or, oh, this one is like one where we have everyone is single and we're pairing them up. It's like
Yeah.
that helps distinguish them from one another. Or like,
Yeah.
and I say like that helps out. I will say sometimes in like more modern ones, I might be like, wait, was Jack on like 25 or 26? No, Jack was 25, because I
Mhm.
remember, yeah, because like Saria there, and they had the whole multiverse theme. It's
Yeah.
like stuff like that helps differentiate
Mhm.
the seasons, and also keeps it interesting for this.
Yeah.
Um I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it
Mhm.
like as a way to, add something to the season that we haven't seen before. You even see
Yeah.
this in shows or movies, because
Yeah.
how many times have you complained about a sequel where it's like, oh, it's just the same movie, just fresh coat of paint with some different jokes or
Yeah.
different kills. There needs to be something different there. That's the hook
Yeah.
that brings you in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also when you give people like a tribe theme or something like that, that is now storyline and that is things that people can talk about that they couldn't talk about otherwise. So it is giving like perspectives of, does this person think that they belong on this tribe? Do they not belong on this tribe? Do they think they belong on another tribe? Like there's other things like that that can really help in just like getting to know people. Um
And
yeah.
personally, it can give you a tribe already you want to root for.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
remember when, Worlds Collide came out, where it's white collar, blue collar, and no collar. I was like,
Uh-huh.
you know what? I really want to vote for the new no collar, because I'm no collar.
Mhm.
Yeah. best like lit free and all that. So like yeah, I was like rooting for them, even if like maybe my favorite wasn't on that tribe. I was
Yeah.
still like let let a no caller win this just for the pride of you know my type of person.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was watching Millennials vs. Gen X just a little bit ago, and I swear to God, the theme gave so much personality to like 8 people in episode one. like
Yeah,
so many people got to talk about it, and it gave people like points of views, and that's something that is it like yeah, you can castrate people and they might have good points of views, but not all the time. Not like when they get out there, they might not give you that great point of view right away, and so you got to wait a long time to finally get there, before you even get to like know this person. It feels, and
yeah,
episode ones when you have themes, you get to know a lot of people right away. You immediately get the vibe of a lot of people, and that is super important in Survivor, in my opinion.
yeah. Especially when you're following 18 to 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
it helps.
Yeah.
It helps. And maybe that might carry some of the load off when it comes to editing. Still
Mm-hmm.
edit your people, right? But,
Yeah.
might take away some of the burden.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Well, that's definitely a good one. I think that that's one that I would love to see. I hope I'm not sure if they'd want to do it because there just seems to I mean, so far I've only been hearing it called 51. So maybe they'll change when, once casting's finished or something. I can hope. But yeah. Also, in the comments below, let me know if you eat Cheetos with chopsticks. Let us know that because I want to
Yeah.
know. I want to get a field perspective of this.
I just, because like the same people he was watching Edge with, someone did it there. And
Yeah,
here I am doing this.
yeah.
I just don't like the residue on my fingers. I'll either
It,
waterfall it if I'm out in public, but if I'm at home, I'm just like, I have chopsticks, might as well.
yeah, I think it's very interesting. Like I think it makes sense. It's just one of those things where it's like the first time you see it, it catches you very much off guard.
Very true.
Yeah. Um, okay, this next one that I'm bringing up here, this one's a bit of a fun one, but it's one that I want to see because I think this just adds so much fun to the season. It gives yet again more things for everyone in the cast to do. And that is that the auction should be on every season, not just every other season. Um, I think it's BS that Survivor chooses one season of the 2 season batch to say this is our auction season. The other season, screw you, you don't get an auction. I think it doesn't make sense. Like you have this stuff out there, like you can easily get a few more things to go ahead and have 2 auctions. Like it's not that crazy of a thing to do. I think every time we've seen an auction, it has been so much fun. I think it adds like people freaking out about food. Like
Mhm.
that's just great entertainment. Like we can watch that over and over again, and it's never going to be dull. It's going to
Yeah,
always be interesting.
and I don't even mind how they did it. Well, I mind the sense of like, oh, if you still have money left over,
Mhm.
if you're the person with the most money left over, you lose your vote. But I do like the thing of like, all right, we got a bunch of 20s out in the jungle, go nuts.
Mhm.
I think that's fun. I did a white elephant um last Christmas, and we did it where, all right, you got more money by winning certain like games because the person who hosts it, like there was like a ornament scavenger hunt, there was a gingerbread house competition, stuff like that, and you can get more money to spend on the white elephant auction. And there was even like some, gifts that she put in there that had extra money or like, stuff like that. So you can get more gifts, which was
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like it's fine to have it like that, where you have, like where, not everyone starts with 500 and they just go nuts. Also,
Mhm.
I think that's another thing too. It brings like some levity to it and stuff. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, there's obviously still strategy because there's advantages. Like
Mhm.
even sometimes within it, like we saw in 47, one of the
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 fry.
scroll was in the fries, and like it
Yeah.
was camouflaged unless someone was like really really paying close attention to Rachel's plate. Like you even see, I believe it was like Saul next to sex next to him, next to her, and he was just kind of looking over smiling, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, is like it's an advantage. And yeah, so there's stuff you can do with the auction, and you can still have it part of gameplay, but overall, it's just fun, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, the worst. It's like what you were talking about with like the worst seasons of Survivor are still good. The worst auctions of Survivor are still good. Like
Mhm.
and I don't think it's any weird coincidence that 48 and 49 got bad reviews and there was no auction. I'm just saying. We
To
got
quote the to quote Q, big mistake.
big mistake. And obviously they didn't do an auction in 49 because they were saving for 50. But like, why did you have to wait? Like you don't have to like that's just a
Also,
weird rule that they've created.
I need to call a little bullshit on that.
Mhm.
On this. It's like, and especially with how like some of the rewards go. And this can be a little mini tangent on rewards, but it's like you have crafty and stuff. I've been on many of film sets. You have some form of like crafty there, and it's just like you can rent out Jeff's like personal chef out there. I don't know if he has one. I would assume he has like, he's getting the good shit out there because he's a producer on it and like, the host.
Mhm.
Um, and it was like you can have him whip up a couple more meals for that day for,
Yeah.
one day. I think another thing, it just feeds the cast for the most part, and they
Yeah.
get that energy. And like, I know part of the reason you watch Survivor, they're surviving in the elements, stuff like that. But we also want to see them compete, and like whether it's in the challenges, whether it's who to vote off,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, and I think usually when you have an auction like right afterwards, there's usually some pretty good gameplay because people are actually thinking about the game moving forwards.
And then
So
you have a easy target. Whoever gets the martini, you're like,
yeah, the
oh,
margarita.
I don't know. Oh, the margarita, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was 47. I want to say Sierra.
Sierra, yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, she got the margarita.
You
She
gotta
has to go.
easy. We gotta keep doing it.
Joe, if one of us goes on Survivor, that purely has to be our strategy. Whoever gets the margarita, we must vote out.
Yeah, they're cursed. It wasn't be like one of our closest allies, and it's like, dang, guess we gotta throw away our
The
entire game for
Survivor
this
gods
joke.
demand it.
Yeah.
So,
No,
but yeah,
we're gonna get one of the margaritas. I mean, like, guys, let's break the curse.
uh, no.
Okay, but yeah, no,
Well,
I think
and one more thing about 49 before we get to it. You
uh,
had someone who wanted to go on there to
yeah,
break the margarita curse. He presented the Chekhov's gun, and you did not fire it.
yeah,
Shame.
yeah, a lot of the missed opportunities with 49, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's like such a simple thing that would just make every season better. Like it is literally just like if you graded it on a scale of 1 to 100, it's always going to increase that whatever the number is just a little bit by having auction in there. So like why not just
I
always have your season be a little better?
yes. All right, we got two more each, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this one is a this one I feel is, I wouldn't say a gimme,
Mhm.
and I think we talked about this a little bit, but no more earning supplies or any of that stuff, or like taking
Mhm.
away their flint. It's like I don't think it's purely coincidence that we get usually one tribe that does terrible after you take away their supplies. Or like
Yeah.
they don't have like, a pot or machete to get stuff done around camp
Yeah.
because they're exuding more effort. They're not getting as much, they're not able to compete as much. And then they lose someone, they don't have fire. And then it just kind of like tack on. And then there's less people to work around camp as well. and then it just gets worse and worse and worse for them. And usually they get bailed out by a tribe swap, or maybe, you know, the survivor gods, smile upon them and be like, all right, another tribe loses. Or,
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. We've seen like two seasons where, due to a medical reason, the losing tribe was spared just because someone either left the game because of medical emergency or got evacuated.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that is like, we don't want to see a disaster tribe. It can be
Yeah.
funny here and
Yeah.
there, but when it's almost every season,
Yeah.
it gets old. And then it's also, I feel bad for that tribe because you have good players there. And like, yeah, it's like the cream of the crop might surpass them, but at the same time, it's like, well, we kind of want to see a bit more balanced, you know?
Yeah. And when all the storytelling of the pre-merge goes to the disaster tribe for a tribe that maybe only one or two of them is actually going to make it to the merge, I mean,
Yeah.
like it's not exactly like a great use of time. So I agree. I know why they're like, oh well, we cut down the days, so now it's only 26 days, so we got to make it harder. Um, but frankly, I just don't care. I think it just makes it for worse TV. Honestly, when you have everyone out there, who's starving as much as they are, um, I think it's fine to let people have some stuff at the beginning. Just give them a little less. Just give them a little less than you would for the normal season, and at least
Yeah.
like let them be able to like live basically and not have to worry too much about that. Like
All
have them,
right.
yeah,
But it's also like, people are going to give you shit anyway for making it 26 days, 39. Like, you see,
yeah,
whether it's fans or survivor contestants being like, oh, it's less days, so it's not as impressive of a win,
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Or, it's where they're already going to say it's easier because it's only 26 days out there.
Yeah,
Just give them a bag of rice.
yeah,
It's like, I believe that was something that we were able to vote on too. And maybe they like, it is interesting because in the hand of the fans, I know there were some that were like the illusion of choice, but at the same time, I guess it is like a bit of a pull for them, like a senses of
mm-hmm.
like what they can possibly get from all of that
Yeah, and I think there's
to,
a good
yeah.
chance that the casual fans voted for no rice because they want to make it harder. I know that my friends who I watched Forever with, they voted for no rice because they like, and yeah, I think if we were a fan, you actually like think about it for like a minute, you know that it's better for everyone out there to like have some thoughts going through their head instead of just I'm starving. But for casual fans, they're just like, I don't care. I just want to see them suffer, and so that's like the most thought that goes into that. But I really do think that some of the reason why we have lack of gameplay is coming from people are just so focused on like not eating and like trying to make sure that they just are like alive, that sometimes they just the strategy sometimes just like yeah sure, let's just do that. I just don't want to think about it, let's just do that. um
Yeah.
so
Well, don't
yeah,
get me wrong. I understand the show is about being marooned on an island after a
yeah,
shipwreck. That's basically what the show was originally about.
yeah,
And it was kind of like the framework for Survivor. But at the same time, it's like, just give him the rice.
yeah. I agree. I agree. That actually leads me into my next one,
All
and
right.
that's that we need to bring back the marooning challenge. Okay, I think seeing people work together in a frenzied panic before they even know each other is way more interesting than just an opening reward challenge for Flint, and then you move on because they just got Flint. Um,
I agree.
I think it's so much fun seeing people jump off the boat. It was a staple of Survivor for so long.
Yeah.
Hearing Jeff, do his final like 39 days, all that kind of stuff, as everyone's kind of running off and all that stuff. It's just so much fun, and also you get to see tribes' strategies. You know, what do tribes prioritize? Do they prioritize food, like short-term food? Do they prioritize long-term, like getting some fishing gear? Who is everyone getting some the machete, the flint? Like, is are people getting that stuff, or are they forgetting about that stuff? That is significantly more interesting, in my opinion, and it speeds it up. It is so much quicker than doing an entire challenge just for flint.
I've done stuff like, you know, where they'll hide something in like plain
Yeah,
sight of like,
exactly.
oh, hey, here's an advantage. And like we've seen marooning and then like, oh, there's a beware advantage, or oh, there's a clue to an idol, things like
Mhm.
that. Or a super idol
Yeah,
that we got.
yeah, exactly. So there's so much that you can do with it that's just fun, interesting, and yeah, I think that it's something that should happen. But the fact that they're so insistent that everyone starts with nothing but a machete and a pot, it just like they said, okay, I guess we're gonna get rid of, frankly, one of the most interesting ways to start a season.
Yeah. I think that's a fair one because we've gotten some where there's opening challenges on a ship before,
Mhm.
but usually they just started at the beach.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so my last one I'm going to bring up, this one is far-fetched, and I know why it's far-fetched. Um, at the end of the day, it is a thing where Survivor, not everyone knows that it's still going on.
Mhm.
And so also a lot of big companies, especially when it comes to entertainment, they do like to cut costs. So it makes sense why they have it like this. But I would wish for them, I guess like I'm bargaining at this point, every now and then change the location. Because,
Yeah.
that's one thing where I get you're up in Fiji, you have your own workshop island, everything's already set there, ready to go. You don't have to worry about location scouting, having to pay for all this stuff and travel and all that. I was like, no, you're already set up there, your whole workshop, everything, instead of having to, just slap a fresh coat of paint on some, like instead of like everything's on the island, just slap a fresh coat of paint on it and then boom, like having to ship all of that to a different country and stuff. But another thing, if like giving a season its identity,
Mhm.
like I remember because I have been watching some like past seasons or like them talking about it. Because I watch Survivor videos and then
Um,
it's like, there's simple things as like even challenges that kind of like, either represent the culture or something like that. Also the vibe of the season and rewards like the fact that, oh, they get to spend the night at this temple that, most people never get this opportunity to do. Or, I think one thing that I really enjoyed was when they would have the school trip visit one,
mhm.
and like they don't have that anymore. Like, it's like, but it'd be for a different country, and then you get to see some of the culture, people how they
Yeah.
live. Um, it's like certain things like that. Also, it gives you design choices that you can pull from.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in like if you were like if you're in China, the different like elements you can bring into your design when it comes for your immunity idols or for your individual immunity necklaces, things like that.
Mhm.
uh Other themes you can put in the season, even if there was like an advantage that is based off of some sort of like tradition or like
Mhm.
based on the culture. There's so much you can do with that.
Yeah.
And I know they've been there since season 33,
Yeah.
um and officially set up there. But it's like, and I get that. I get like, yeah,
Mhm.
but it'd be cool if like every 5 seasons or so they break that mold and be like, all right, we're gonna go to, a country in Africa, or all right, we're gonna go deep into like some part of like South America, like things like that to help like,
Yeah.
ooh, okay, this is something different. This is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't put that one just because I know that they just love Fiji so
I
much.
know.
They freaking love it so much. But I agree. We don't really learn anything about Fijian culture in the new era. Like nothing has been taught to us even about that place. It's just that they're on a island in Fiji, and that is the most of that we know about like the culture of Fiji. Um, which yeah, that used to like they used to like teach you like it was almost like going to school sometimes where you get actually like learn about certain temples or like rites of passages that certain people and cultures would do. Like Vanuatu, they literally, like did a whole divided them into male and females, and then had like this whole ritual ceremony that like made the women already really hate the guys because it was a very like like against girl female kind of like tradition, and it was all about the guys, and so it kind of like helped fuel that kind of thing. And having like all these different weird things, China for instance, where you have someone, Leslie, who is very spiritual, and she just can't take away the idea that going into that temple is religious. Having stuff like that is obviously just another one of those things that we used to have, and it used to be very frequent, and it used to help the early stages of seasons. um
Yeah,
so I agree. I wish we could go to other places. But
especially
yeah,
because like for another one that I didn't get to like bring up really, um, but like for rewards,
yeah,
like the Sanctuary, where good things happen. It's just a little.
yeah,
It's very stale. It's like very lackluster as opposed to like you get to take a helicopter ride over a volcano and then picnic next to it, or going to geysers where you can throw coconuts and watch them fly up into the air,
yeah,
stuff like that. Or, like, and the ones I previously mentioned, where it's like, all right, you get to do something nice, or like even way back to their earlier days where they get to see the, corals in the Great Barrier Reef, like,
yeah, yeah.
cool stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, just to film confessionals in different places is, we've seen the same locations for confessionals now so many times. Like, no one gets unique confessional locations because everything's been done that they film on the island. Like, it's just like at most it's like, oh, I'm in a different place because I found an idol, so now we're gonna do a confessional here real quick. But it's like it's not really like any distinct ways of like hidden between some rocks or trees in some unique weird way. Like it's very much like, hey, we gotta film our thing here because these are our confessional spots, and let's keep going.
Yeah,
So
very much
yeah,
so.
yeah, would love it. That's definitely one of the ones that might take a little while before Jeff wants to implement.
Because mostly it's money.
It's a money thing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, on to my final one here, and this one I'm not sure how you're gonna feel, because it could go either way. But I think they need to get rid of the beware advantage. I think that it takes up a lot of time to essentially get them to get the idol and not lose their votes. I get the idea is like, ooh, you might not have your vote, but most of the time they get their vote anyways. Like we spend a lot of time in a where we used to just be able to get them have the idol and move on to the next character thing. Now we're spending a lot of time on something. Sometimes it can be interesting. Sometimes it's like just doing a puzzle or something, and it's just like not that eye catching. I think we can easily allocate that time to other places that is more about building up other characters, giving other people better edits, instead of doing something that essentially gets you into the same spot that we would previously. Um, but it's just taking up more time just so that they don't have a vote, so they can keep their votes.
Hearing it out loud, I'm like, I think you make a lot of strong points too. Like for me, I'm like, I think it's an interesting. element where it can be
Mhm.
done. Like, but I do think it is like case by case things. Like, I think
Yeah.
best example of it, we talked about 43 in this one,
Mhm.
collecting the beads. That was like
Yeah.
a really cool, unique way. And it was like, all right,
Yeah.
you know,
But to be fair, that one was really interesting and unique the first time we saw it. And then we saw it two more times in less interesting ways because it was like, well, we've already seen it once. Let's just kind of go to this person. And Cody's one was interesting because he found it right before tribal council. So there was like the time crunch was like super on. A lot of times these people are finding it when they are not going to tribal council right away and they have like a little bit of time to
yeah,
like figure it out. And now, I mean, like they try to then like say, okay, now you got to go to this place when you lose a tribal council or when you're about to go to tribal council, and then they just kind of made it like a little more like a scavenger hunt of just like find it real quick,
yeah.
and it's like I don't know, it's not. It's an interesting concept. I just don't think it's adding anything to the show that is like necessary and actually building up players.
I I would say I don't think it needs to change, but it's one of those things where I wouldn't necessarily mind, or I wouldn't mind if it was gone or care really.
Mhm.
I will say it could be something that they reserve for all-star seasons because I feel
Yeah.
like, it is something that is different for like new era players
Yeah.
to experience for the first time. Like, oh, I have to do something to activate the idol.
Yeah.
Whereas like back then, and oh, you just grab it. I would say,
I think what would be really interesting is if you had idols normally, and then there were some beware advantages that weren't idols. Because I think it's dumb that they're called beware advantages and then they're idols. Because advantages and
yeah,
idols are technically different things. So I think a beware advantage should be different. So that way there's a little more of like a do I actually want to take this? Because when you have an idol, yeah, you want to get an idol because it's one of the most powerful things in the game. But
yeah.
if you don't know what that beware advantage is, and it could be just a steal vote. Is it worth risking your game for a steal vote? I don't know. I think it could be worth it for an idol because
It's
worst case scenario, people just then target you and then you play it and you're good. Um,
I think it is case by case too, because a steal a vote, it's basically it puts you ahead by like 2 votes wherever you are, three in certain
yeah.
circumstances. Um, but I think it's something where I will say I do like how they mix it up here and there with it. I wouldn't say like I would say I'm on indifferent. I think you bring up a lot of good cases about it and why,
Mhm.
it's okay to retire it. So like if they do, I'm like, all right, yeah, it makes sense. Joe, yeah, I mean, like, I think that's a pretty, I think you bring a good argument to it,
Mhm.
and something that should be looked into.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
like I
yeah,
said, this is. I mean, it is at like my fifth spot here, so it's like pretty. It is one of the latter ones I came up with, but I do think that we've seen what we needed out of the Boer advantage. Let's like put it into maybe a semi-retirement, like where
yeah,
it's kind of gone. But I do think it would be really interesting if it shows up every now and then, and it's not an idol,
yeah,
and it's
and I
something
think
and it's something else.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. That new era for a lot of things, it's like there are some certain like aspects, whether it's the type of challenges they have, whether it's their tribe divisions and stuff,
Mm,
where it feels like sometimes it should be every now and then we do this. Like I remember
yeah.
when they do like 3 tribes, that was I don't want to say uncommon, but not at nearly as common as they did now. Like 2 was usually the norm, and when they did
Yeah.
3, it's like, oh snap.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's something. I think that's the thing is they do like we said in the
Mhm.
beginning, they need to change things up. They got if they take any if a producer is watching this, but like what are the takeaways from this video? Things need to change, sometimes change back to how it was because it worked,
Mhm.
but don't let that stop you from progressing. It's just like what were the great things you have 50 soon to be 50 seasons of data. Well, I
Mhm.
guess 49 because like you're about to do your filming and stuff in a
Yeah.
couple months. You have all this data that you can like pull from of like, all right, what is the best part about Survivor that we have brought? And which one of these things are feasible? A lot of these things that we're asking are reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say a more far-fetched thing, and I even said in it, was like, it doesn't have to be every season because I get it. Like it saves money to have everything there in Fiji. But, to mix it up and go to, a different continent or something, like every 3 years, I think is a reasonable quint. And that was like probably
Yeah.
the hardest area. Like that's the hardest sell on all 10 things we said. A lot of these things are things they can do.
Yeah, I think everything else is like that we listed is like easily like they can achieve it. And I think fans are gonna love it. I think it's gonna make the seasons better. And it's stuff that yeah, the fact that it's things that they can literally do in season 51 to make the season better. And it's like the cost only goes up like a little bit, but it's like guaranteed to make your season better. I think it's worth it. I think where Survivor is right now, they need to figure out how to just improve everything in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Um, Regardless of all of that, I am still excited for Survivor 50.
Mm-hmm.
We do love Survivor, and like Joe said earlier, this is more so constructive criticism. We don't think
Mm-hmm.
that Survivor is just terrible or unwatchable. Like in Survivor has always had good seasons. They've had some bad seasons. For every Pearl Islands, we get a Thailand. For every, like Philippines, we get a Nicaragua. It's
Mm-hmm.
like there's that.
Yeah, exactly. But whatever we can do to make the show better, I mean, that's what fans do. Like we're here to watch it, but we're also going to give our feedback on if we like things or don't like things. That's comes with the
Exactly.
territory.
Precisely. All right. Well, I guess that's it for now. We'll see you all later with A Brand Steel. We are when this by the time this comes out, we will be in February. So Survivor 50 coverage is coming soon, and I'm very hyped. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, we will see you all in the next one.
peace.